This episode of the podcast is brought to you by my sniffles. My sniffles comes to you straight from Pollen International. And I don't know what's up with that. I'm going to go for a run anyway. I don't care that I'm going to be sneezing out snot. Maybe I won't be sneezing when I'm running though. No, but really though, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by Link Shirt. Link Shirt Kids, everyone. Link Shirt Kids is a fast and easy way to locate the guardian of a child. If you have a kid and are going to attend a crowded place, like an amusement park or a festival, Link Shirt Kids is ideal for any place where a child can get lost in a crowd. The shirt uses no technology other than the technology that you already have in your phone. Am I fucking up this copy or what? This company's going to want a refund. Fortunately for me, it's this company. So anyhow, Link Shirt Kids, it doesn't use any other technology other than the technology that's already available to you in your phone. And that, as a matter of fact, that everyone has in their phone. I'll give you a real world example. Okay. I was at an amusement park with a friend of mine, my two kids, and a kid of my friend. And my friend and I were in this maze part of the amusement park. And she says to me, you know, it didn't occur to me until afterwards. I'm sure her too. But she says to me, hey, watch the kids, you know, without either of us thinking this is a great place to leave one person in charge of watching three little kids in a maze, right? Needless to say, one of the kids got lost and it wasn't pretty. And so, you know, it just put a real damper on the day for a good while. Like, it's one of those things where you get scared. Like, I don't know if you remember, like when you were a kid and you got scared and it just made you aware of your mortality. Well, this made you aware of, it made me aware of how badly you can fuck up if you're an adult. And the thing is, I can't blame myself entirely. You know, ultimately, I got to do the Jocko Willink thing. If you don't know who he is, look it up. And, you know, you got to take ownership. I got to take ownership of the situation. I should have thought to myself, hey, man, hey, this is not a good place to look for. And so anyhow, this is a perfect scenario. If we had a Link Shirt Kids, I would have gotten a phone call on my phone or a text, right? And or she would have, the mom, and she would say, hey, your daughter's over here crying by the Dumbo ride because your friend lost track of him in the maze or whatever, you know, that kind of situation. But anyhow, I don't know if you've ever lost sight of your child, but every minute feels like an hour. Minutes feels like hours and seconds feel like minutes. And she wasn't lost for very long, but anytime that you can cut that down, that would be great. So anyhow, so if somebody would have had it, if she would have been wearing a Link Shirt Kids, you know, we would have gotten a message right away. Hey, your kid is over here. And they would have gotten it by scanning the QR code on the shirt, right? So anyhow, if you want to learn more about this, just go to kids.linkshirt.net and check it out. You can purchase kids shirts there. If you buy two, you get $5 off. If you buy three, you get an even bigger discount. And that's it, folks. And I hope you enjoy the podcast today. And, oh no, actually, you know what? Que se vayan a la verga. Mira, this episode is also brought to you. We have two sponsors today. This episode is also brought to you by Link Merch. And Link Merch is for independent musicians and supportive fans. Musicians, are you tired of releasing your music and the streaming platforms acting like 10 or even 50,000 plays is nothing? 50,000 people couldn't fit in most stadiums, I want you to know. Excuse me. You have to excuse my voice because I'm seriously having an allergy like situation over here, and I was sneezing and I'm all inflamed over here. My eyes are red. And you know, I'm still going though, right? What was I saying? Oh yeah, like you couldn't fit 50,000 people in the stadium of the football stadium where I live here. Okay, so 50,000 plays, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of plays. If like, so in streaming, in the best case scenario in streaming, you know, for 50,000 listens on Spotify, it would make you $200. That's 50,000. That's a stadium full of people that listen to your music. And potentially, you know, let's say it was only 30,000. Let's say the stadium was full and it wasn't 20,000 people waiting outside to get in, right? Even then, it still would have paid you $200, right? Getting it streamed on Spotify. And you know, and on YouTube, it would be even worse. You know, on YouTube, you would only make, let's see, like $78, $87.50. So forget about it. With Link Merch, you can make that $200, you know, from 100, 200 listens. That's right. With Link Merch, you can earn, believe it or not, up to 10,000% more from your album releases. Holy crap, I sound like a moron. Not that I'm not. So you can, but you know what? I'm not. I'm not. I shouldn't deprecate myself like that. But you know, the thing is, I got a sense of humor about myself, and I'm just fumbling over my words over here because I'm reading. If you can't tell, well, of course, I'm not reading right now when you hear me talking like that. But anyhow, so you can earn, believe it or not, up to 10,000% more from your album releases through Link Merch. And fans know where your money's going and know that your support is going to the artist. That means that if you got 50,000 plays, and let's say those plays came from, let's say, 20,000 listeners, okay? That means that the streaming platforms act like, you know what, those 20,000 listeners aren't really anything. We're going to give you $200. So, but to you, the musician, that is like precious, right? That's a stadium full of people, you know, and the thing is, if you got quote unquote, you know, just one play through Link Merch with them, like from, let's say, 20,000 people, and you sold them your Link Merch for what would make you $1, that would mean $20,000. Now, that's very, very, very modest. But if you sold your Link Merch to them to where you would make, let's say you sold them a sticker, and let's say you made $2 from every person, that's 40 grand from your album release. Musicians, 40 grand. Okay, that is money that you can actually do something with. You know what? And as a matter of fact, let's say it's not even that. Let's say it's just 500. Let's say 500 quote unquote plays, right? 500 times, let's say 2, that's $1,000 even, right? Let's say you just sold 500 of your Link Merch, and that's $1,000. You can actually do something with $1,000, right? But I'm being very modest because, for example, I use Link Merch and I'm selling my Link Merch for $5 a piece, like the stickers. And fans like it. They like to support the musician directly. So anyhow, if you'd like to learn more about that, visit linkmerch.us. That's linkmerch.us. linkmerch.us. Did I spell that correctly? Link Merch. You know, I originally grew up speaking Spanish when I was a little kid. Anyhow, plowing ahead here, as somebody I know says. I'm going through something, folks. And it has to do with things that are happening in my life, my acquaintances and my friends. And I'm not all that close to too many people, but you know what? I have some really good friends that I've made, especially like somebody whose name I could say is Mike. He's been really, not just because he's supportive of me, but I'm saying we see eye to eye. You know, we can communicate and understand each other. And I think that he sees that I'm a stand-up guy, and that I'm sincere and honest and straightforward. And I think that that's, for me, I really appreciate that because I don't know if it's because I'm a minority or what, or excuse me, whatever you want to get into. But the thing is, there's a lot of doubt about me. Maybe it's the way that I talk. Maybe I don't look people in the eye. Maybe I don't know what it is. You know, it could be something that I'm doing. But whatever the case is, you know, it's just like I don't get close to a lot of people. Now, I have people in my life that are still into astrology, and I'm not trying to pick any fights. But I don't want to be silent about something that I think needs to be addressed. Am I speaking like a robot? So the thing about like our local magazine, like the Folio or like the LA, if you're in Los Angeles, it's the LA Weekly. That magazine still has a horoscope in it. And before you're all like, shut up, we like the horoscope, shut up. Before you get like that, I get it. It's fun. You say it's fun. But it shows you the level of mentality of the whole society. Shut up. Who are you to say what the level of mentality of society is? So the level of is like this is a publication that's thousands and thousands of dollars where they publish their paper. It must be like $30,000 in rent every month or et cetera, et cetera. And they're publishing horoscopes. And people are picking them up and reading Virgo. Do you know who Walter Mercado is? Virgo. Ahora, esta semana, tú vas a tener un amor grande, muy grandísimo. You know who Walter Mercado is? Look, if you're going to do horoscopes and astrology, you got to do it with Walter Mercado. Okay, that's the only one that I'll listen to. I'll listen to Walter Mercado. He's amazing. So there's that, and you know, join me on this little tangent here. Every movement, excuse me, every movement has a thing going on. Like there's a product attached to the movement, which means like, let's use food as an example. When I worked at a natural food store some time ago, which was like 17 years ago, 18 years ago, it was noni juice. Noni juice. Have you ever heard of that? No. But noni juice was the craze. It was people, I worked at this natural food store, you know, what is like before Whole Foods came to town or anything like that. And people were buying this by the cases. We were selling it by the cases. We couldn't keep it on the shelves. And then that died out. People were talking about noni juice and making claims like it freaking made my penis erect and it made my boobs bigger. And, you know, I went to the bathroom comfortably and I could run 10 miles, etc. And not that running 10 miles is a long way for some of you. Anyhow, then came, what was it? Acai berries. People walking around everywhere in Berkeley, California, just correcting you. It's acai berries. It's acai berry. It's acai berry. Just like, you know, quinoa. I see quinoa. And they're like, it's quinoa, brah. Right? Where are you from? Baja, California. It's quinoa, brah. So people are correcting me saying quinoa. And then, but anyhow, that one's still legit, actually, quinoa. So then there was the acai berries, and that was it. That was it, man. You eat your acai berries, and you're going to be like Superman. You're going to do everything, and you're going to be powerful, and you're going to live forever. And then that went out of style. And then it was like, what was it then? Agave nectar. It's the agave, the nectar of the gods of Quetzalcoatl. You know, And people were all crazy about that. And then we learned recently that it's actually worse for you than sugar. Did you know that? Do you feel duped? I feel duped. Because I went for the coconut oil thing too. And I was putting coconut oil in my hair, and I was eating it, and I was taking a shower with it, and we were throwing it at each other, and et cetera, et cetera. And people were putting coconut oil everywhere. And it turns out that it's bad for you. And then now, there's other ones in there too that I'm skipping over. But it's like the part that gets me, I don't necessarily blame companies for selling stuff in a capitalist culture. But the part that gets me is like the Charlie Brown to Lucy effect, where we keep going to kick the ball and she keeps moving the ball away, but we don't learn. So now, you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight me? It's CBD oil. Shut up. CBD oil helps me. It helps everything. It helps it all. CBD oil is the thing now, and you just cannot argue with people. And maybe it's black seed oil, but that went out of style. Maybe it's CBD oil, and now I guess people are doing cacao beans now, cacao ceremonies. And over here in Jacksonville, in Florida, they're really behind. I want you to know they're just starting to do ayahuasca and that kind of stuff. Peyote. They're just starting to do all that stuff here. And, I grew up on the West Coast, so I'm better than everybody. No, really, what I mean is I grew up on the West Coast, and that kind of stuff has been around for a long time. That's where it comes from, really, from natives and Latinos of South America and Central America. So I just feel like all the stuff that's going on. And I got to tell you, in my life anyway, it's mostly ladies. It's mostly ladies doing this kind of stuff right now. It's not my guy friend so much. And if a guy friend starts talking to me about that, I'm going to be like, dude, you and I, dude, we got to buy some guns and we got to go lift some weights, bro, because this is not for us, Holmes. Like, we got to do some manly stuff. You know what I mean? Like some manly shit. I don't care. I don't care if you're homosexual or if you're not. I don't care. We got to do some manly stuff. You and me. We got to shoot some bow and arrows or something like that. Because that's what we got to do. Because we have, if the Mongol hordes come over the hill, right? Never mind. You know what? I don't want to talk about that. I'll just get myself in trouble. So it's like an anti-intellectualism that's going on. And as a matter of fact, it's somewhere in between. It's not like totally on the spiritual side. It's got some science intermingled and some history and some anthropology mixed in with it. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there is the very scientific side. So there's the scientifically literate side of the spectrum, and then over here on the other side of the spectrum, on the opposite side of the spectrum, there's a very religious side to it. So this is wedged somewhere in the middle, and it uses language of scientific literacy, and it uses language of anthropological relevance and cultural relevance. And at the same time, it's mixing language of very religious, dogmatic thought, where it's very highly subjective and interpretive. And a lot of the times people use that kind of language to manipulate others. So you use vague terms so you can define them for the person that's listening. I'll give you an example. Do you need an example? Like, for example, you could say, let's say the word evil. People have used the word evil throughout history. You could say that is evil. But who decides that what is evil? And then so at one point you had the church calling people evil and then, baking them in a steel cow. So who's more evil here? It's just a very strange situation. So yeah, that's what's up. It's a new year. It's 2020. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means that, I don't know what it means. It's a scary thing, actually. This is because this is another year that could potentially be as much of a struggle for me as last year was. What do you think? Do you think that's possible? It could be possible. I think the key to that, though, isn't to hope that it's not a struggle. I think the key to that is to hope that I can overcome it and hope that I can achieve what I need to achieve through that struggle. That's what I think needs to happen there if I do have that fear that this year is going to be as much of a struggle. It's there's a lot on the line when you have kids. Excuse me. I'm going to have to go for a run very soon because it's about that time. It's hitting midday over here. There's a lot on the line when you have kids. You know, you're raising them and you're trying to educate them. And at the same time, you want them to eat healthy and to be balanced and to have a schedule. So I'm trying to achieve all of these things. And it's a very challenging and very difficult thing. And being a single parent is an asinine scenario that too many people put themselves in. And I know plenty of people who are perfectly happy in that situation, but they're in a different position than I am. Like, for example, I think that a lot of people forget that they have money coming in from other sources. Like, let's say, you know, I'm not trying to point any fingers or anything like that, but I'm just saying I'm trying to point out different situations. Like, if I had alimony, like I have some female friends that have alimony, and that, I think sometimes they might forget that they have that coming in, you know? Because they'll talk to me and they'll be like, oh, Goliath, well, just like, why don't you just like, just buy it, you know, just buy it. I'm like, okay. So the thing is that, and then as a man, you're more alone in the world because you would only know that if you're a man. Being alone in the world, crying at the corner, at the bus stop, you know, nobody's going to talk to you. They're going to be like, what's up with that dude? You know. It's just the way that the world is. It's fine. There are double standards, and I'm at peace with those double standards. This is how it is. It's like the storm is coming. It's raining all over you. You weather it. You can't do anything about it. The weather, that is. Although some people are working on it. So babies, I have a few new companies that I started, and actually a few products. And that's the police stopping somebody over there. I have a few products from a company that I started called Linkbox Enhanced Communication LLC. And it's a very exciting situation, you know, and then totally unrelated to that, I'm experimenting with so much stuff. Totally unrelated to that, I've been selling balloons, right? You would never think that. You never think that Goliath, Uncle Goliath over here would be selling, Daddy Goliath would be selling balloons, but my girls love them. And they're quite the salespeople. And they like selling balloons themselves. And we look like a little gypsy family. Their papa and them out there selling balloons to people. And I don't mind it, actually. I would be even more gypsy if society would allow it. Like, I would take my daughters and go on one of these streets where people go to the restaurants and stuff and lay out a little carpet and start playing my guitar with my kids right there. But I'd probably get arrested for doing that, right? Because it's a pretty conservative place where I live. But I wouldn't have a problem with that. Like, I think it's fine. Like, how else are you going to get music in public spaces? Like, you only have to do it through designated channels, through the city and the ordinance of the city of wherever you live. I think that's enough. I think I got to go. And I hope I didn't cough too much into the microphone. If I did, I apologize. It's this pollen, whatever is going on. and I'm about to go run, and that might make it worse if there's really pollen in the air. I don't really know how that works. Something's making me sneeze, but it's not a cold. You know, I feel fine. And I'll talk to you later. Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. For real though, how could it be that these jingles keep appearing in commercials? Like, isn't everybody tired of these jingles yet? You know, it's the ukulele and the xylophone and maybe a finger snap, right? Right. I have a theory about how these jingles came about to be. And that's, you know, because musicians are being squeezed like so many people, that these people got a contract and they're like, hey man, we got this contract to do a jingle for X company, but they're only going to pay us this amount of money. And then they were like, all right, so you know how to play the ukulele? I don't really know how to play guitar, man, but I know how to play the ukulele. All right, cool. We need a lead instrument. Do you know how to play any lead instruments? No. Man, we can't afford to hire anybody because they're paying us so little. So let's just whistle. Okay, let's whistle then. Right, so you start whistling, and they're like, man, I don't really play any drums, so you just snap your fingers and clap. Right? And that's how these jingles happened. That's my theory anyway. If I hear another one of these jingles, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind though.